Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and in this week's Spotlight on Story, we're going to be going a little bit out of the way and talk about an Action Labs comic, and it's going to be called The Stray, Who Killed the Doberman. It sounds silly, all right? It sounds genuinely silly. This is not a silly comic. This is a little bit of silly written into pretty serious comic. All right, I was surprised at how deep and how in-depth this comic went into a bit of the human psyche for the most part. But listen, the best way that I can describe this is if you ever read that 12-issue limited series, all right, by Grunwald. I'm talking about Squadron Supreme. It was a really high concept about the Justice League gone wrong. Now, again, that was high concept. This is a very dumbed-down version of that, in so much as it's street level, focusing on the Batman-esque character with a little bit of a question-like character, looking at, you know, yeah, like I said, street level in that regard. So I dug this comic book, or I absolutely dug this comic book. So I'm going to give you right away, written by Vito Delsante, art by Sean Izaakse. And yeah, this is just considered superhero in general. And you can, going to give you a bunch of places down below in the description where you can actually find the comic in and of itself. Multiple different formats. All right, this was, yeah, not the easiest comic to get in physical form, but it is what it is. So, we start off with the Doberman. He is the Batman-esque character in this Justice League type superhero group, and we don't even see that Justice League superhero group just yet. We just see this guy introducing what is his son, who is his son, to this new world. And he's got the I don't know what you'd call it, like the Dynamut car and all this other crazy stuff. And you're just thinking, this is silly. Like, the guy's called the Doberman, for crying out loud. The kid, as a sidekick, he's going to be called the Rottweiler. I mean, like, this, it seems like it should be so silly. They're training with pugil sticks, which, okay, cool. They're practicing like 15 more miles per day. I don't know how long they were running in the first place. A whole bunch of all sorts of crazy. And then he gets introduced to his actual Justice League type group. And they're like, yeah, I don't think we need him. No, I think it's a good idea. No, I think it's a bad idea. No, let's try this. Hey, maybe I should get a sidekick too. They're all, you know, discussing back and forth how it goes. By the way, I didn't actually notice an Aquaman character, which I found very offensive. Anyway, so they're just like, you know, they're all compromising. It's like, listen, the guy already knows all of our secrets. Just let it go. Let's just see what happens. It's his kid. Let's see what happens. So he joins up, and yeah, this shouldn't work. Listen, by all rights, this comic should not work, because here's this guy called the Doberman. All right, he's got the little dog ears and all that crazy. It's like, what are you doing? What are you doing with this comic book? You want me to take this seriously? And then they have, you know, the kid, the Rottweiler, and he's got this a miniature, he's a mini-me of him, and he fights with a bone. I can't make this stuff up, guys. He fights with a bone that's actually a bow staff. Oh, but it segments into two, so it could be bone chaku. So he's like a Daredevil-esque kind of character too, because there's no cape technically, and he's got the... Oh my God, this should not work. But we start off with the Doberman being murdered, straight out killed. He gets into a fight with a guy who he can't beat. And this dude winds up throwing him out of a building. The guy comes down the building and splits the dude's face, splits the Doberman's face in half, strips him naked so he doesn't have his costume on, and drains him of all of his blood. Yeah, this is absolutely insane. Like, what the heck is going on here? So the Rottweiler is all grown up by this point, and he's already abandoned his father for the past 4 years or more. And you get to see the whole fallout later on as the comic continues. But for the most part, it's just, it's sad. Like, it's reasonable. It's realistic. Guys, again, these silly costumes. How is this comic book so serious with these silly costumes? It's like it should, by all rights, it should take you right out of the story, but it doesn't. You just look at it, it's like, okay, this makes it easier to read this very heavy subject matter. These two get into arguments about their political views. And mind you, they're not talking about politics, but their political views on the system, whether it works or not, whether they're actually adding to the problem or contributing to cleaning up the streets. What exactly are they doing? Oh, well, they formed a team. They've got their team in and of itself, but this team is actually registered with with the law enforcement of the city. Like, okay, you've got to be registered in this crime division that involves vigilantes, and then you've got to be able to testify also, keeping your superhero identity. I wonder if this is actually where Charles Soule got some of his idea for the pre-Mayor Fisk concept that he had in Daredevil. Anyway, so yeah, they start having these conversations with each other, and it turns heated. And Dad, as you know, fathers will often do, you're just a kid. You don't have a right to talk to me this way. You don't have the right to have, basically, an opinion. Whoa, got kind of deep there, too. So the son, of course, quits. Now, the son, when he quits, he goes into business for himself. Dad was already rich. He took whatever he had with him, and he moved on. And he opened up his own business, which was becoming a promoter for his own clubs. And for the love of God, man, like, the guy's actually selling this superhero drug. So it's kind of like Kick from the Marvel Universe. It makes you feel like, except it doesn't actually give you superpowers, it just makes you think you have superpowers. The problem is sometimes people think that they can fly, and then they jump off of buildings. So this guy is totally responsible for his girlfriend dying in every way, shape, and form. Like, that happens right here in this book. And you're thinking, dude, this guy is scum. And you're not wrong to think that. The guy is scum. But he's still got his own beliefs. And he walked away from the superheroing business. But he's kind of getting dragged in once he realized that his father was killed. And to make matters more interesting, one of the guys there, one of the people in charge, not of the vigilante group, but the homicide group, is actually one of those heroes from the vigilante group itself, that Justice League type group. So he recognizes the kid. Rottweiler doesn't recognize him. So now there's like a new form of mentoring thing here, and it's interesting. It's interesting the paradox that they use, because he originally said, "Wow, you're really good. Maybe I should, maybe I should hire you to be my sidekick." And he winds up becoming his sidekick without realizing that he became this guy's sidekick, because again, one knows, the other doesn't. The power dynamics of this, every single aspect of this comic book, every one of them works. Even the silly costumes and the dumb bone nunchaku thing, because it's like it's the one thing that kind of brings down the mood from the comic, because this could be a very emotional comic book if this were written, or if this were drawn darker, all right, as opposed to with, a hero with dog ears like folding over. Like, I'd be like, oh my God, the silly costumes, all right, great art, but the silly costumes drawn on some of these characters, specifically the main character who's being used, who goes back into crime fighting now as a new version of the Doberman, but he refused to use that name. You'll find out by the end of the series what he chooses to use his name. Or did you know the whole time what he chose his name to be? Either way, the idea is that this costume makes it more palpable. Yeah, palpable. And palatable as well. It makes it easier to read, because this could easily be a Watchmen type comic, man. That's how hard-hitting a lot of this stuff is. It gets dark for a while. Murders all over the place, man. This is not the Justice League where the world necessarily loves you. It's not even, as bad as the Marvel superhero Civil War, where nobody trusts you anymore. This is post-Civil War, much smaller group, not superheroes all over the place, but basically just this city. There are indeed superpowers, but we're focusing on the street level stuff. Like I said, guys, it gets dark sometimes, and it's great. This is a fantastic comic book. I cannot recommend this enough. If you can grab this online, and again, I've given many links below. If you can get it on Kindle, is probably the cheapest. You get it on Comixology through Amazon, all that good stuff. You'll get it pretty cheap there. There's multiple ways to get this, but seriously, Action Labs, this just came out of nowhere for me. Great comic book. Definitely dug this. After that, read it yourself. It's only 4 issues that you can grab in one single one single volume if you choose. All right, guys, that's it for me. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.